Welcome back, guys, to another video. Haunter Knights here. We are going to be ranking pseudo-legendaries, Gen 1 through Gen 9. Now, I know the layout that I have here, it shows the pre-evos. We're just going to ignore those pre-evos. We're just going to be looking at the final evolution. And again, these rankings are going to be my personal opinion. They are not based on competitive capabilities or how well they'll help you in the playthroughs or anything like that. This is just my personal opinion on which ones I think are top tier. We got S through D because no pseudo legendary can truly be an F tier mon, in my opinion. We also have variant forms here. So we have Gudra and Hisuian Gudra here. You know, since technically it's two different Pokemon, but two same Pokemon at the same time. Yeah, we're going to get started. First mon that we have on the list, OG, probably a lot of people consider one of the best. I personally love Dragonite. What hurts it, in my opinion, is that it is a dragon flying type. As we know, flying types don't really get many hard hitting moves. And then it gets rid of the advantage of dragon being resistance to the elements. So from being resisted to electric, it is now neutral on electric types. And then ice becomes 4 times super effective against it, but it's still a dragon. I want to put him S tier so bad, but I think it's safe to say he's probably the best A tier of all of the pseudos that there is. Next is Big Boy. Big old T-Tar, Tyranitar, Dark Rock. 4 times super effective against fighting, a very common type. But man, this mon can cause so many issues if you're playing with your friends, or if, even in the competitive scene, it causes issues. It hits like a truck. It can take hits. It's a solid S tier, unquestionable in my personal opinion. It is just an amazing mon. Next, another dragon flying type in Salamence. Poor man's Dragonite. It's faster, yeah. Maybe hits a little bit harder. But it's, like I said, it's the poor man's Dragonite. Doesn't have the nostalgia factor. It is from my favorite gen, which is Gen 3. But you can't put it above the OG. The OG dragon flying type in Dragonite. Just can't do it. Next, we got Metagross, Steel Psychic type. It's sitting second S tier right now. That'll change. I think it's the lowest of the S tiers, and there's only going to be 3 S tiers, in my personal opinion, on all of these pseudo legendaries, but this is the worst of the S tiers pseudo legendary. So you can say S minus, A plus. Psychic Steel typing's great. Access to priority and bullet punch. What hurts it from being potentially the best, it's Psychic type, and one of the hardest hitting Psychic type moves it can get, it's physical, is in Headbutt. It's what holds it back a little bit from being second, I would say, on the pseudo S tier. Still a great mon. Again, one of my favorite. Uh, Steel and Psychic, you can never go wrong. Then they got its Mega form, and Mega Metagross was a nasty monster to deal with whenever you were playing against your friends or playing online or whatever. It's a great, great mon. Next, and this is going to make people mad, and I already know it's going to. But next we have Garchomp. And again, I know it's going to make people mad. A. It's not S tier. Yes, it hits hard. Now, if we were taking into consideration their Mega Evolutions, this would 100% be an S tier type Pseudo-Legendary Pokemon. But we're just looking at base. And base, there is a lot of, not a lot, there's Mons on here that, in my personal opinion, are better Pseudo-Legendaries than this. Yes, it's a great Mon. It's a great typing in Dragon and Ground. Again, you get the 4-type weakness to Ice, which we have a commonality between these three. But on top of that, one of the most common types in the game, water. You don't resist water anymore. You're now neutral to water. Again, one of the most common types in the game. Yes, you have a more advantage against fire types. Fire types is really not that common of a type in games. Most teams, you might have one fire type on your team. You don't face many opponents in the games that are using fire types. Fire types are really not that big competitively. Yeah, it just, what it hits hard against is not there, and then its weaknesses or neutrals is a big one in my opinion. That's what keeps it from being a top tier A or even an S. It's not good in my personal opinion. Hydreigon. This, if Garchomp didn't make you mad, this will make you mad. S tier. Dark Dragon, cool. Cool typing, cool typing. I actually love the typing of being Dark and Dragon. Add a resistance in there of Psychic type. Not resistance, but where you can't hit it at all. But you add one in Fighting. You add one in Bug. And if your bug types are super effective against you, I can't really justify putting you in A or S. And then I just think, oh, some of these mons on here are better than you, being Dark and Dragon. Don't get me wrong, you're a cool mon. Love the design. Love playing with it in the games. It's a fun mon to use in the games. But overall, as the pseudos go, it's a no-go for me. Goodra. Original Goodra, D tier. My opinion, the worst pseudo that has ever came out. Now, its stat spread is underwhelming. Everyone else on here has something that they do extremely well. What you do extremely well is you're defensive. But the biggest kicker to me that makes this the worst pseudo in all of Pokemon is when you got a little Sliggoo, you gotta find somewhere where it's raining. And why would you put such a big crutch on a pseudo-legendary Pokemon in what a lot of people consider one of the better games in the Pokemon franchise in X and Y? It's what brought it back to relevance. You introduced, Mega Evolution. You brought back the original 3 starters in the beginning of the game. Multiple rivals, an underwhelming Elite Four, in my opinion. And then you're going to swing for the fences in trying something new with the pseudos, and it was the worst idea that you could have come up with. Original Gudra is the worst pseudo-legendary there is. Hisuian upgraded a little bit, not too much. Still typing made it cooler. Not great, but it's better. It's better than the original, but it doesn't mean it's great. The added still type, you add a weakness. You make where you're neutral against fire, not resisted fire anymore. Yes, you can hit ice types and fairy types, some of your weaknesses super effectively now, but they're more than likely going to be faster than you. So you're going to run into troubles there. Yeah. Next, we have Komodo, however the heck you're supposed to say it. Solid B tier pseudo. Run of the mill pseudo-legendary to where you're like, I can see that why this is the pseudo. Hits hard. Okay on speed. Resistances, I don't like the super effective psychic types against it. Don't really like that. You can hit one of your weaknesses super effectively. Being fighting, you can hit ice super effectively, which is nice. Add some that you hit super effectively too. Doesn't really hurt you too bad. The only problem why it's in B is fairy types hit you ×4. And if it comes down to best mon against your buddy, and he knows that Komodo is one of your best mons, he's going to bring a fairy type and boom, tap, smack, you're gone. The other ones on this list that are quad weak to something, Salamence, it also probably will be one tapped. That's also why it's in B. But in A, Dragonite and Garchomp, they have the power that they can do something about it. And then Tyranitar, it is hard to find any mon level for level that's gonna one tap a Tyranitar, and it's gonna hit you like a truck back at you. I said earlier that we did have one more mon that was going to be in S tier. And in recent games, this is the best pseudo. And it's close, in my personal opinion, to dethroning Tyranitar. Fast. Hits hard. Adds resistances. Or, mons that can't hit it. Adds ones that it can hit super effectively. Yes, it's frail. We know it's frail, but it's super fast and it hits hard. So it makes up for its frailty with being able to outspeed and hit what you have for massive damage. Great mon. Love Dragapult to death. Is a bit annoying to find in the games, but nothing too crazy. Crazy high levels like all the other pseudos to get to your final evolution. Love its signature move. Dragapult is a great mon. Second best pseudo, close to being the best pseudo. Now, our big old boy from the newest generation. Gen 9. Baxcalibur. Baxcalibur's interesting. Hits like a truck. It's about all it really does well. Not super fast. It can kind of take hits, but again, you're adding weaknesses that you didn't have previously. Dragon Ice, now neutral fire. Don't like that. Um, Fighting now hits you hard. Ground now hits you hard. It's just one of those mons that, because of all the typings and the plus and minuses of each typing, I think we need to go back to earlier generations where the pseudos are not always dragon types. Dragon is getting to the point to where it is being overutilized by Game Freak. All your pseudos don't have to be dragons. I mean, in my personal opinion, as you can see, 2 of the 3 best pseudos ever created are the 2 that are not dragon types. You have Tyranitar and you have Metagross. A lot of people would put Metagross probably number 2 behind Tyranitar. But I think Dragapult's too good for that. But 2 of the 3 in my S tier of best pseudos ever is Tyranitar and Metagross. Get away from the dragons. Let's have something special, something new, something fresh added as a pseudo for Gen 10 whenever we get that. If we even get a Gen 10, we'll see. But yeah, this has been my tier list of the pseudo-legendary Pokemon. If you like the list, give it a thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're new. We're going to be coming out with, for as of right now, tier list games for the tier listing things in Pokemon for this foreseeable future, at least once a week. Come check us out on Twitch under the same name, Haunter X Nights. We stream there multiple times a week, usually starting around 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. We try to go for at least 2 hours, minimum an hour and a half, sometimes over 2 hours, depends on how I'm feeling that night. Yeah, new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like. If you disagree with anybody on my list, put it down in the comments below. I'd like to hear what you think. Yeah, this was a fun one. A little bit of a shorter one, but it was a fun one. Yeah, come check us out on Twitch. Thank y'all. See ya.